Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Greek New Testament, and I'm reading through 1 Corinthians, and I got up to chapter 7, verse 32, and hopefully I'll finish chapter 7 in this video. Thelo de humas amerimnus enai, agamos merimna tatu kuriu, pos arese to kurio. Hodigemesas merimnata tu cosmu, pos arese te gunaiki. Kai memeristai, kai he gune he agamos, kai he parthenos merimnata tu kuriu. Hina e hagia kai to somati kai to pneumati. He de gemesas merimnata tu cosmu, pos areste to andri. Kai tuto pros to humon auton sumphoron lego. Uch in brokon humin epibello, ala pros to you skemon, kai you paredron to kuriu aperis bastos. So just to translate that briefly here, but I wish you to be without a care. So careless in the sense of not having a care. It's the alpha privative plus the an adjective form from merimna, a care. So I wish you to be without care. Hoagamos, the unmarried man, merimna, this is from merimnao, it's a verb, an alpha contract verb. So cares for or has concern for or cares for the things of the Lord. How arese, this is from areso, to please, so how he might be pleasing to the Lord, how he might act in a pleasing way to the Lord. Hodigumesas, but the one having married, merimna, has cares for the things of the world, how he might be pleasing, how he might please his wife or be pleasing to his wife. I mentioned before, gunaika, woman, in this context often translated as wife. Kai memeristai, this is from merisdo, he is literally, he has been divided. This is a perfect passive from merisdo. So he has been divided perhaps here. Kai hegune, and the woman, the unmarried woman, and the parthenos, and the young maiden, merimna, has a care for the things of the Lord. And then we have hina e hagia kai, in order that she might be hagia, holy, both in body and in spirit. But the one having married, feminine participle, aorist participle from gameo, the one having married, merimna, has a care or concern for, tatu cosmu, the things of the world. Pose, how she might be pleasing to her husband. Ariso takes a dative, but to be pleasing to someone. I speak this, now the top goes with the sumphoron, which is an ad with a, turned into a noun here with to. It's formed from sumfere, which is an impersonal noun meaning to be expedient to. And here, this is just the noun from that. So I say this with regard to that which is expedient for you yourselves. It's quite emphatic. Ukhina, not in order that, epibello, I might literally cast a brokon, a noose. This is a rope or a noose around your neck, a noose for you. But with regard, now we get some interesting vocabulary here, use scamon. So with regard to that which is seemly, or in good order, kai paredron, literally is sitting happily beside, hence devoted to the Lord. And then we get this perispastos, which is a late word. It occurs in the Septuagint and in Polybius. It means without distraction. Literally without, the spao is that sense of to draw, and the peri here to draw around or to draw away, so that which is not drawn away and hence without distraction. It's an adverb here. So just to do that last bit again. So I say this with regard to what is expedient to you yourselves, what is an expedient thing of you yourselves, so to you yourselves, not in order that I might cast a noose for you, but I say it with regard to good order and something devoted to the Lord. So with regard to good order and is devoted to the Lord without distraction. Now the next couple of verses you'll need to look at the commentaries on, because these are very disputed in terms of its actual meaning and in particular who this tis is referring to. The older commentaries tend to believe that this tis is referring to a father and that the maiden of him is referring to his unmarried daughter. More modern translations seem almost universally, oddly enough, to take this to refer to the betrothed, the would-be husband of this Parthenos. And the language is very difficult. Paul has not made our job easy here, because it seems to jump back and forth between one possible interpretation and the other, and he also uses very obscure words which have a variety of meaning. So just to go through the vocabulary firstly, this askemonan from askemonio, well, it can mean to behave improperly to someone, or it can mean to not treat them properly. So the modern translations take this as something like, if someone is behaving improperly with regard to his Parthenos, well, to his, they translate this as his betrothed, it's literally to his virgin, or rather, I've forgotten the main verb. So if someone or thinks that they are behaving improperly with regard to his betrothed or to his virgin, and if, this is subjunctive, if he might be huper akmos, unfortunately this is another word which is very late. It's post-classical. It doesn't occur anywhere else except in Eustathius's commentary on a passage from Homer, where it's used in the sense of being past maturity. It's hupo akmos. Acme is the height of something or the maturity of something, and huper meaning beyond. On the other hand, some of the modern translators take this as meaning of uncontrolled passion. That is, it's beyond the pale almost, so of uncontrolled passion. So they would translate it then as, if he might have uncontrolled passion, and now again we get another odd expression here. It is thus, so ophele, it is fitting, it ought thus to occur, perhaps a marriage to take place, and so a marriage ought to take place is one of the possible renderings here. Let him do whatever he wishes, he does not sin. let the two of them marry. On the other hand, if we take this to refer to the father, it will mean something like if a certain father is perhaps not behaving in an unseemly manner, but perhaps behaving improperly with regard to his virgin daughter, or thinks he is behaving improperly or in an unseemly way with regard to his virgin daughter, and if she then becomes the subject of this is two terminations, so the ending doesn't help, and if she is huper akmos, meaning beyond, past the flower of her age, past the marrying age, or past the bloom of youth, so it would be, and that in that case, it is she ought to become a wife, or a marriage ought to occur. Let him, that is, do whatever he wishes, he does not sin, and let the two of them, well, this is plural here, imperative, third person plural imperative, so this must refer to the maiden and her, well, some man, let them marry. Just to continue on, because the problem continues in the next verse, of course. Again, depending on whether you take hos as being the father or the bridegroom. So taking the bridegroom first, and he, so it's but he, hestaken, stands firm in his, stands hedraios, stands seated literally, so stands firm in his heart, not being under any compulsion. He has the power regarding his own will, and he has decided upon this in his heart. In other words, he's made in his heart the decision. Now, terein is going to mean here to keep the maiden, to keep his maiden, or rather to keep the girl as a virgin. And that's where it becomes very difficult if it's the boyfriend, if it's the intended spouse. He will do well. Hosti, so that also gamizdo. Now the trouble is that gamizdo, as in Matthew 22:30, means to give a daughter in marriage, which gives weight to the view it's the father who is referred to above. Others take this as a later form of gamio, or equivalent to gamio, so that the one marrying his own virgin, he does well, and the one not marrying will do better. On the other hand, if we take this to be the father is intended, as the older commentators do, it will mean something like he, but he is, that is the father, stands firm in his heart, not being under any necessity to marry off his daughter, and he has authority, or has power, has perhaps almost regarding his own will, and he has decided on this in his own heart, to keep, that is to maintain, to look after his own daughter, his own virgin daughter. He will do well, so that the one giving in marriage his own daughter, his own virgin daughter, does well, and the one not giving in marriage will do better. I'm more inclined, in fact, to the older view it's referring to the father, but I just note that modern translations seem to relate it to a young man. The problem with all of that is this tein hiautu parthenon, referring to one's betrothed as one's own virgin. It seems a very odd expression, even in classical times. well, just to finish off the chapter, gune dedatai ef hoson chronon tse ho ane artes, ian de koimethe ho ane, eleuthera esti hoi thele geme thenai, monon en curio. Makariotera de estin ean hutos mene, katatain emen gnome. Doko de cargo pneuma theou ekain. And a woman, this is the passive from deo, so a woman is bound, literally, for as such a time as her husband, literally her man, but her husband, say, is alive. But if the husband, koimethe, literally might fall asleep. This is from koimao, and it's used in the passive here, but just with active meaning. It means to sleep, and the idea of falling asleep in Greek is the same. It's just a euphony for dying, euphemism, I should say, for dying. So if the husband might die, she is eleuthera, she is free, game thenai, again aorist infinitive, this is passive, to be married to whomever she might wish. Monon en curio, only, well, it's with God, perhaps with God's blessing or something. And possibly he's saying here only those who are already converted Christians, that may be the meaning of this, monon en curio, but only those who are in the Lord, or with the Lord. Makariotata, it is more blessed, comparative from makarios. Usual rule here, the iota is short, so we have a long linking vowel here in the comparative. So it is more blessed if mene, aorist subjunctive here from meno, if she might remain hutos as she is in this condition of being a widow. Katatain emein gnomein, in my opinion. Doko de cargo, cargo for kaego, and I think that also that I have, understand in this matter, the Spirit of God. In other words, I think that what I'm saying is in accordance with the Spirit of God. And that is the end of chapter 7.